Hi, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Baltimore Eating with me, Richard Gorelick. Join me here every Thursday at 12:30 to talk about everything food-related in Baltimore. And this week, I'm joined by food blogger and return guest, Huppit Bartov Miller. Hi.
Hello. I'm so happy to be back.
I'm so happy you're here. Amanda's off this week. I'll be back to you in a second. I have something to read. This is what I'm going to read. This Week in Baltimore Eating is brought to you by Eddie's of Roland Park, now accepting catering orders for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Home is where the challah is. From savory beginnings to sweet endings, Eddie's has the flavors that every guest remembers. For a holiday that tastes homemade, menus and ordering information at Eddie's of RolandPark.com. Lashana Tova.
Shana Tova.
It's going to be 57:79. Time flies. I'm so excited. What I was going to tell you, which I chose to wait to tell you, is that Mom's not cooking dinner this year.
No? What's going on?
Well, I don't know if she'd like me telling everyone, but her thumb is hurting her.
Oh.
It's just keeping her from doing everything she wants to do. And we're going to get deli this year, but we're all going to be together.
Listen, that's the most important part, that you guys are going to be together, and sometimes you have to go with Plan B. And you have a whole year to learn all the dishes and, and whip it up.
That's right. I'm so excited about that. In the past, you provided Jamor, that's us, with some unusual Tunisian-inspired recipes for Passover, Thanksgiving, and Hanukkah. What sort of things do you like to make for Rosh Hashanah?
Oh, Rosh Hashanah is such a great holiday.
It's your favorite.
Yes, it's one of my favorite. I mean, just the concept of having that blank page, restarting, being able to put aside some of the things that were, in your way in the previous year, and moving forward with hopes and other, goals that you have for the next year. I just love the concept.
I love that. All of that. I do that. I think of it that way. It's the new year. It really is a new year. I don't know if people make Rosh Hashanah resolutions, but I know they try to be better people. And that can mean many things to many people. One way we try to be better is to eat better and be more conscious of what we eat.
Absolutely. And, the dishes in this, the reason why I love the holidays so much is that the dishes are really keep sending us this message that you have, an opportunity here to create a change and do different things and, welcome new blessings to your life. So this is why I love the dishes. One of the dishes, and particularly that I love, is this blank white rice to represent the beginning of a new year. And then what we do is we add a very sweet topping on the white rice, and that is sweet onions with dried fruit, and this is all kind of sautéed in brown sugar and a little bit of silan, which is date syrup with cinnamon. So that's the topping that goes on the blank white rice, and it kind of symbolizes the sweet and the blessings that you want to bring to your life.
That sounds so good. What's it called, this dish? Or does it have a name?
It doesn't have. It's like rice with dried fruit on top, but it's very, very familiar, not just in Tunisian traditions, but many other Sephardic cuisines that do the same kind of rice. It's something. What's funny is that my husband is Ashkenazi, so as he got to know me, he got to know all the dishes, the Sephardic dishes. But this is absolutely, and I know if he's listening, this is one of the dishes that he's waiting for, and he kind of galloped it all up with the topping especially.
I really want it. I understand why it wouldn't have a name, because it seems so personal and handed down. But what if people wanted to prepare it? How could they find a recipe?
So I have a food blog. It's called afooda.com.
AFOODA.
Absolutely. And in there, I share all of the recipes, and holidays is a great time to have and to share even more some of the stories behind the recipes. This rice dish that I started telling you about is a great beginning, because it's so blank and beginning concept of Rosh Hashanah, but there are many, many more symbolic dishes that are part of our Rosh Hashanah celebration and the holiday, and they each have specific blessing that go with them. So it's about it's almost like a Seder Pesach, that has the different kind of foods that each thing go with its symbolic meaning.
And those things might have symbolic meaning in general, but maybe more meaning, also an additional meaning for the family or the people that are gathering. 'Cause they have
Absolutely.
memories.
So food for us, if we think of it, and I think of food often, as you know, because I
Yes.
have the blog and I write about food and I cook and I do all these things. So food, generally, if we think about it, such a basic thing that fulfill our basic need of not being hungry, just being alive, right? And then you have the other meaning that you mentioned, that's more memories and reminiscing, and that's kind of the emotional connection that we have to food. And here we have this beautiful holiday with these dishes that add another aspect to food that kind of guide us and teaches us and give us maybe some message to take with us to the new year.
It could even be, a food or a dish that someone forgot to make one year, or someone made too much of one year, or left an ingredient out and it became a source of humor and fun in the family. We have things like that in our family too.
Gotcha.
Just foods that remind us of stories that we've all shared together.
That's nice. But I wanted, could I
Please.
give you, I brought a little surprise for you.
I love surprises so much.
Because I talked about, so 1 second. So
Surprises.
it's right here.
Oh, look.
Yes, I brought a little surprise for you, and this is one of the traditional symbolic dishes. It is a pumpkin jam, butternut squash pumpkin jam,
Oh.
and it's a Tunisian dish called majun kra. And what's nice about it is that
Look how pretty.
kra means pumpkin or butternut squash, and I put it in a little jar, just this little sample. But what we do, make jam out of it, of course, with sugar, but we also add rose water to it and a little cinnamon.
I'm going to show up with this on Rosh Hashanah.
And you can even say the special blessing that goes with it. And it's a nice play on words because we use the word kra, which in Tunisian means the pumpkin. But we also take it in Hebrew. Kra means to tear, and the other thing means to read. So it's a nice play on word where we ask that our maybe harsh verdict, or the things that accumulate throughout the year, will be torn apart, like we won't get the harsh verdict, and then the good deeds will be read and will be remembered. So this is one of the blessings that you can add to your table.
I'm going to add it to my table. I'm going to leave one for Amanda. I know she's watching.
Wonderful.
And she's going to get one. If you just got here, you are watching This Week in Baltimore Eating with me, Richard Gorelick, and my special guest, I'm so happy, Huppit Bartov Miller of afuda.com, where you can find all of Huppit's recipes that we're talking about and other food writing. AFOODA.com. Hey, This Week in Baltimore Eating is brought to you by Eddie's of Roland Park. Receive a store-made European apple cake from Eddie's free. Oh, wow. With your high holidays catering orders of $75 or more. Just bring the coupon in from Eddie's of Roland Park's ad inside the September issue of J-More, now on newsstands. That's a great deal. Hey, be sure to comment, like, and share, and follow us at hashtag #JMoreEating. So are we done talking about Rosh Hashanah? What else do we want to know about? What else are you cooking these days?
Rosh Hashanah is followed by some other holidays
Yeah.
like Yom Kippur, which you don't really eat much because you have the fast. But I still, have memories of dishes that were part of Yom Kippur, either before or after, or for the children. So this morning I was on the phone with my aunt to get the name for something that I'm making every year for the kids on Yom Kippur. And these are almost like rolls, but they're formed into a shape of a basket. So it's bread, and in the middle you put a hard-boiled egg and you bake it in the oven. So it's kind of like, on Yom Kippur when you fasting and you don't want to cook for the kids and they're still young, you kind of can give them that basket of bread with the egg in there, and they're good to go for a few good hours.
Oh, good.
And it's also a memory, like you said, something that I remember as a kid that was part of our Yom Kippur, and I love to bring it back to my family and share that tradition.
And then right behind it is Sukkot.
Yes, and Sukkot. So Sukkot also have, we had to enlarge our Sukkah this year. So we're getting a bigger
That's
Sukkah so we
great.
can have more people there.
Oh,
Which we're so excited
wonderful.
about. And we'll
I'm
see how,
excited.
yeah, I'm excited for my husband to help me put it up because he's good at those kind of things.
It sounds like you do plenty.
So anyway, we also have a special holiday dish that I do for Sukkot, which are called chamer, which is stuffed eggplants. It's usually made with a meat version, but on my blog I put a vegetarian version that I like, that it's light and it's really nice that you can drizzle some tahini on top, and they're stuffed. They have so many flavors going on. It's good.
People love eggplant. I think people have trouble with eggplant, though.
Cooking it, yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's that spongy kind of vegetable that if you cook it in the wrong temperature, a little bit, there's still a wrong little thing, and it can mess up
It's hard.
the flavors.
Is there a
texture.
tip for eggplant? I read different tips online about if you're in some recipes they say to cube it and salt it.
Right. Some I don't do it all the time. I understand the concept of sometimes you need to take out the liquids before
Right.
you do something. But I actually, if you slice it thin enough, and if you put it in the right temperature of oil, it will not soak so much oil, or it will not become that strange texture. So my tip is like get your oil really warm if you're first frying it, which a lot of the recipes start with that. Or if you want to throw it in the oven and not stand and fry it, you can just slice it thinly and, brush it with a little bit of oil, and that kind of sears it, and you send it in the oven, let it do your, all the
Thank
work.
you so much. That's a great tip. And sometimes we have to back up and say the tip before that tip is to have good knives. Because
Yes.
if you're going to be making, it's hard to make good slices of anything if you don't have good knives. So,
Right.
do you have a knife you love? At
Yes,
home?
I mean the knife. I like Asian knives mainly because they're light on the
Yeah.
hand. Sometimes when you cut, like we talked about those pumpkins or the butternut squash, you might need, a European knife that's a little heavier to handle that job. But generally, I use my Asian knife and make sure I bought. Not recently, but I bought a good sharpener that I make sure that the knife is sharp enough, because as you said, you actually get hurt more often when your knife is not sharp, which is kind of a,
I
when
know
you
all
think
about
of
that.
it, the
Yes.
sharpen your knife is, the more sharp it is, the less opportunities to get accidents will occur. So that's nice to know.
Are you willing? Do you have a brand name you like for Japanese knives? Or-
I use Sean,
okay.
and I have a couple others, but that's the one that I really like.
Thank you. I think people like to know.
Yeah.
This was fun. I had one other question for you. It was about something we said before. It wasn't if people date syrup, is that easy to find? Where do people find date
I
syrup?
find it more and more, available in different places. What I like about date syrup, and I always give that tip, is when you look at the ingredients, you want to make sure that your syrup really the ingredients should just say dates. It shouldn't say sugar. It shouldn't say glucose or any other additions. So you want to make sure that is. I think any brand that can, you can verify that in your ingredients, you just have dates. That's a good brand. I order it on Amazon, but I also found it locally here, 7 Mile.
Oh, good.
I know some other specific stores started bringing it, so it's exciting to see it around. And it's very useful. Besides cooking and adding that special sweetness to the dishes, you can just enjoy it on a yogurt in the morning.
That sounds great.
The most simple piece of bread with raw tahini, with a little bit silan on top, is the perfect breakfast sandwich ever. You don't need anything else. You got to try it, Richard. I'm telling you.
One more time. It's just the
A piece of toast or bread that you like. Put raw tahini. You don't need to do anything to it. Just raw from the jar.
Right.
And then a drizzle of silan. That's the date syrup. And that's it.
Gosh, I'm going to report next week on my
You got to
experience.
try
I'm
it. And
so
I want to.
excited about that. This has been so much fun. We got good information, I think, and a couple great tips for you. And be sure to tune in next Thursday, September 13th, when cookbook author Julie Turshen joins us to talk about more Jewish holiday cooking. I wish I had the title of her cookbook with me, but we'll talk about that next week. Thank you so much.
It was
Pete,
my pleasure as always.
for being here today. Tell us what you're making for Rosh Hashanah in the comments. and search for our virtual cookbook at jmoreliving.com/virtual cookbook for more high holiday recipes. Anything else? Any parting comments before I say the...
I just want to wish everybody Shana Tova Umetuka. I want their year to be as happy and as sweet as possible, and lots of good gatherings, traditions. Enjoy the family. To you too, of course, Richard.
Thank you. That's a lovely thing to say. It's making me very emotional, and I want it to be a lovely, sweet New Year for everyone out there too. And I think the more we want that for each other, the more we'll have it.
Yeah.
This Week in Baltimore Eating has been brought to you by Eddie's of Roland Park, providing Rosh Hashanah catering, including roast brisket. We didn't even talk about brisket. Glazed corned beef, kugel, and store-baked desserts. Pleasing everyone might not sound easy, but invite Eddie's to your gathering, and it can be. Find menus and ordering information at eddies@rolandpark.com. To Sweet New Year. To you too, Glenn. Thank you. Lashana Tova.
Shana Tova.
Thank you.